Sebastião Salgado, nationality Brazilian. His look suggests that if he had been born in another century, he would have been a navigator, an explorer. Profession today, photographer. He was trained as an economist, and one day he asked himself whether pictures might not reveal as much or more than statistics. Me, John Berger, nationality British, profession writer, trained as a painter. Try to put into words what I see. It was in my kitchen that the two of us met to talk together about Salgado's latest book of photographs called Migrations.
It is not pleasant to die, Lord, if nothing is left in life. And in death, nothing is possible except on the basis of what is left in life. It is not pleasant to die, Lord, if nothing is left in life. And in death, nothing is possible except on the basis of what one could have left in life.
That was very close to the death in this moment. And these pictures represent a man, a strong man, dying by cholera. And I saw in this camp, sometimes dying per day, 10,000 people. And it's difficult to see 10,000 people die. It's very hard. It's very hard to see 10,000 people die. And 10,000 people with good health. They were not starving. They were dying because we had not any way to save them. But that don't happen only here. That happens in many different places now today. And I put myself the question if there is not a correlation between the numbers of television that you produce in some factories, the number of cars that you produce, the number of profits that the banks does with the number of people that dies in this moment.
He traveled for 6 years, visiting 43 countries. Everywhere he went, he found people on the move, looking for somewhere, some way to earn their living and feed their children. During those 6 years, the economist, who became a photographer, took pictures of the face of globalization.
I saw this This is our reality, and we must assume it. What we are calling now globalization was made by the institutions that was the big agents of this, from as International Monetary Fund, as the World Bank, as all financial system that was created in the end to organize a way to produce and to transfer funds and to create profit around all this. And what happens from this moment that to begin to change all the system is this enormous rural exodus that people was pushed out of the fields. And John, it's about 110 million peasants that are pushed outside of their land each year. And the question that I put myself today is, what about the globalized people? This story, this book, these pictures is a globalization picture. These are the globalized people. Is a sample of the globalized people.
Globalization means many things. At one level, it talks of trade, which since the 16th century has exchanged goods, and now increasingly ideas and information across the globe.
But also, globalization is a view of the world. It is an opinion about man and why men are on the world.
One in 5 of all the people on the globe benefit from this system. 4 in 5 suffer in different degrees from the new, unnecessary poverty.
Part of the fanaticism of the economic system, which we now call globalization, part of its bigotry, as always occurs with bigotry, is that it pretends, and it is a lie, it pretends that no alternative is possible. And it's simply not true. And it is said in the face of the whole of human history. and this is the Argentinian poet Juan Gelman. We have to pass from the kingdom of need to the kingdom of freedom, from that of theology to that of religion, from capitalism to life, from the economics of poetry to the poetry of economics, from hunger to you.
This phenomenon in Africa, to have more and more refugees, more and more disintegrations of countries, has to do with this new economic system. When you see the peasants, what they received against their production, the goods that they produce, they pay you to consume them. When you fix the price of these products that are not fixed in Ivory Coast, it's not fixed in Liberia, it's not fixed in Brazil, it's fixed in London, it's fixed in New York by trade companies that fix this price. And they don't take in consideration the needs of the life of this population. And what happens? The cake is each time smaller for a population that is time bigger. The problem is an economical problem in the starting of all this story. I know these people from Rwanda, from long. I came to Rwanda the first time in 1971 as an economist. I came to work on the tea plantations. And the tea plantations were very equilibrated way of life. Rwanda was not an underdeveloped country, was not a poor country, was a developing country. And I came back to this tea plantation. Of course, all was burned, all was destroyed. The tea that we make 20 years to make it grow or more was abandoned. All the effort that all these people made was lost. These people were in the road, in the death. And in this moment, until the days that I took these pictures, I was sure that evolution was in the positive sense of the inclination. After this, I put myself the question that what is evolution? Evolution can be any kind of thing, can be in any direction of the inclination. We can evolve negatively, going to the death, going to the final point, going to the most brutal end, and we adapt to it also. And I put myself with the real intelligence of the human being. The human specimen is not his capacity of adaptation. And these people, after a month, they begin to be adapt with the death.
When you were believing that there was a historical evolution towards the better, which you then doubted when you were there, this vision of the better, it is a continual struggle to which there is no end. And it is also a struggle against despair, which is very easily provoked. I mean, one of the things which I think is extraordinary about your work is that in a strange way, in all these pictures, one feels in your vision the word yes. Not that you approve of that, but that you say yes because it exists. Of course, you hope that that yes will provoke, to the people who look at the picture, a no. But this no, it can only come after one has said, I have to live with this. But to live with this world is first of all to take it in. The opposite of living with this world is actually indifference, or of turning away. And this is very, very, very connected with the idea of hope. People so often, they say, you mean optimism. But optimism has nothing to do with hope. The point about hope is that hope is something which actually occurs in very dark moments. It is like a flame in the darkness. It isn't like a confidence and a promise.
As you say, there is for me a lot of hope here. All these people that I photographed, all them, they lived in a stable way. And what happens, these people that you see in the picture, they came from a normal life. They are in a transition. And what they have with them is just a small slice of hope. And it's with this hope that they are trying to get another stable position of life. And I don't believe that they need any compassion. If the person looked to these pictures just to raise a compassion in them, I believe that I failed completely in the way to show this. And what I want that people understand that we can have a solution. If we are in the situation, it's a situation that altogether we choose to be there. Because very few of these persons that are photographed, they are responsible for the situation that they are now. Most of them don't understand why they are in the road with thousands of others. They lose their house at the end of the last break because they were bombed, fired, destroyed, and they are in the road with... They don't understand really in the moment why. They are not reason to be there. It's other thing.
add up all the instants in this book,
that is 1 second of pictures, probably 1 second and 10, no more than this, because if you get an average of 350 a second, the speed that I shoot one picture, probably here we have about altogether 1 second of pictures. And this, for me, is the magic of this kind of photography. Because in this fraction of a second, in this 1 second that we have here inside, I believe that you understand very well what is going on the planet today by these pictures. Yes.
That is an extraordinary. It's not what I'm looking for.
That's for me is a kind of emotion that is this man. He was a teacher, and he was completely in despair, and nobody was really there to understand him, and only their community was there to understand what they lost.
That makes me think of this very prophetic philosopher, a woman who was called Simone Weil. And there is one little thing she wrote which I would like to read because it's a kind of summing up, I think, of what you were saying, Sebastian. There are only two services which images can offer the afflicted. One is to find the story which expresses the truth of their affliction, the words which can give resonance through the crust of external circumstances to the cry which is always inaudible. Why am I being hurt?
We speak a lot about statistics. We don't speak about real feelings. I remember part of pictures that I take in this book. I came to 1 year ago to Kosovo, and I was mind exactly this. And in this war was a war that gave us information, statistical information about the number of bombers that have been bombing Kosovo, the numbers of pilots that are used to attack Serbia, but we don't speak about feelings, we don't speak about real people we don't speak real about suffering of people. And these people crossing this border from Kosovo inside Albania. Refugees was there waiting, people be receiving them with open arms to bring them to their countries, to bring them to France, to bring them to Germany, to the United States. But they were wrong. Nobody was waiting then. We made a big war. We spent billions of dollars in their name. We made nothing for them. Their emotion was then lost in the ground, in the back of their tractors, where they live, where they create refugee camps in the back of their tractors, and like this, that were their home. Nobody was waiting, and very few people waiting then. And that is the point where the emotions are.
Nothing can justify what is happening. But so long as it happens, it is necessary that it should be taken in. Because it is necessary that the inner life of man, that the life which he creates within his mind, resemble as finely, that is to say, as truthfully as possible, the actual world. And the whole history of art and philosophy is the history of a long and extraordinarily hard struggle to make this possible.
Mostly, when we see images of the catastrophes that are occurring, we see them in very sensational images which pull people to look. And it's necessary to pull the maximum of people to look in order to, after the image, to sell the maximum of commodities in the publicity that follows. But if we accept what is happening, then, not always, but often, one is face to face with the tragic. And what happens in face of the tragic is that people accept it and cry out against it, although it won't change. And they cry out very, very frequently to the sky. And in many, many of your pictures, the sky is very important. People who have lost all sense of tragedy simply look at these skies and say, ah, what a beautiful set, what a beautiful decor this is, what a well-chosen moment. But it isn't a question of that. The sky is the only thing that can be appealed to in certain circumstances. Who listens to them in the sky? Perhaps God? Perhaps the dead? Perhaps even history? In these big chapters, there are as many mysteries as there are people. When one really knows somebody, one actually is recognizing their mystery and the unknowable in that person. Maybe that's even where love begins. And in your pictures, there are many such moments of what I call mystery, like this picture.
We have sometimes the opportunity to look through a television set and know that there's probably a coup d'etat is happening in a place of the planet. You sit in your table, eating your dinner, you have the impression that you are participating. But in reality, you are just looking, you are not participating. Because you don't know the story, what has happened. You just know a fact that's happened there. We must see that this person lives a full life around their family, knowing about their past, hoping what will be their future. They live a full life inside a tragedy of the size of the planet. And I believe we can understand, and understand with the light that is there, the sense of the destruction that is there. We can probably assimilate this with what happened in Dresden in Second World War. And going back and try to understand who is these people. This probably is a privilege that a photographer has. A photographer that goes and spend a long time with the people, that live with the people, that spend nights, because nights we don't photograph. by sitting around and speaking, and people telling what really happened to them. Sometimes I put myself the question if for me was not more important meeting people, new people, the people allowed you to come inside their life, the way that you receive these pictures, that sometimes people call you to give the pictures. People come to you, to your lens, as they were coming to speak in a microphone, and that's incredible. And you assume a big responsibility with the people that you photograph to tell people about these stories. That means you must show these pictures. I don't want with these pictures create bad conscience to the people that look to them, because majority of the people that look to them, they have a proper house, they have a work, they have health. It's correct what they have. The only difference that we need to have for all the planet to have.
How did these portraits come about, Sebastian?
Well, when I was making these pictures of general story, children are always present. And once I was working in Mozambique, in the center of Mozambique, in a camp, big camp of displaced population, where most of them were children, because in Mozambique we had about 350,000 children that was loose from their families. And I have these children that are doing a real big party to be in the pictures, because they wish the children is to be in the pictures. It's natural, it's normal. And I had one idea. I asked them, I said, guys, I do a picture of each one of you. I really do. And after that, you behave normally and let me work. And I begin to see that the moment that these children came out of the group, sit in front of the lens, they become individuals. Really, they become individuals. They were innocent, they were pure, but from their eyes was possible to see what they lived, what was their life.
When these kids were there, before the camera, it seems to me that they stood there, presenting themselves, no? Saying, I'm here. This is me.
I exist.
I exist. Exactly. I exist. But also something else is happening. Because they're looking at Sebastian and they are looking at the camera. And they know that they are looking at the world. And so they address a question. What are you out there in the world? Or is there anything else out there? The priorities according to which we perceive and react to the world might be changeable. Kids, the true spectres of hope, look at us from the 5 continents and your photos, one after another and another. But whose hope? Who needs who the most? They us, or we them? I'd like now to, your great Peruvian poet, Cesar Vallejo. And I want to read a small part of a poem by him. It is not pleasant to die, Lord, if nothing is left in life. And in death, nothing is possible, except on the basis of what is left in life. It is not pleasant to die, Lord, if nothing is left in life. And in death, nothing is possible, except on the basis of what one could have left in life.
Probably to do a book like this is a wrong form. Probably to do a film is a wrong way. Probably to do shows of posters is not correct. But I sincerely want to know what's correct. Because if it's correct, I believe that I must go and do it. Because I believe that we must have a responsibility in the time that we are living in order to provoke this discussion, to provoke this debate. And it's a debate that I believe that each one must participate on it and must have a responsibility on it, because we probably, if we want to survive a specimen, we must probably get a proper direction where we go. We must choose another way, because what I saw in these pictures, what I'm looking in these pictures, this is not a proper way, this is not a correct way that you choose.
you.